Cool. So, as Nicole said, I'm John from Dowie Farm in New Hampshire, and we do microgreens under the inspiration of Jack's show, 3-4 years ago with Luke Callahan. I listened to that show. I was always doing quail and ducks, and I was looking for the cash crop all the time for my small 1-acre farm. And I listened to that show, and I thought, I kind of eye-rolled real hard and thought, what is this hippie bullshit? Microgreens? Like, that sounds kind of, And, but then I listened to the show, and I said, hey, maybe this is something I should give it a shot, So I set up a rack, just a stupid Home Depot rack I had kicking around my house in the living room while the wife was at work. And I threw some fluorescent lights on that thing, and I was unemployed at the moment. I'd just been fired from my general manager position at Hooters. So it's like quite the leap.
At least you're not an undercover boss.
No, that guy, I'll tell you about that guy later. It's not a happy ending. So anyway, I set up this rack, and I just had seeds kicking around the house, and I had some potting soil, and I just threw them on this rack and followed the instructions on Luke's book, and I ended up growing some stuff. A bunch of stuff failed. Like, I planted like 6 trays of stuff. I planted some basil and some arugula and some peas and some sunflower. A lot of it grew, some of it failed. I cut that stuff. I took it to a chef that I was selling eggs to. He fell in love with it, and then we started selling him microgreens. Then I had to run home and plant more, right? Because I didn't have anything behind it. And then I had to actually buy seeds and all that stuff. It was a good time. And now we grow a lot of microgreens. I think, I haven't counted lately. I remember when I got to 60 trays at a time, I was like, holy crap, we have 60 trays of microgreens going. I think we're at 300, 350 now at any given time. So it's a lot going on all the time. It's planting 3 times a week and whatever. So this is all I do all day, every day. So I decided to come to Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas on vacation to talk about what I do all day, every day. No. So, all right. No, but what I want to talk about more today is less the business end, because I did a whole presentation here a couple years ago. Some of you are probably here on business of microgreens, and we will talk some business about this in a couple of days. But the first step of this presentation is how you can just incorporate this into your preparedness lifestyle, because I'm assuming this crowd that came to the Survival podcast event is interested in some preparedness, right? Things like that. So, and you would think microgreens, like, I'm not going to go into that real hard, but it's like, this is something you can work into your preps, and it works into your preps, and it works into your home food production, and it's something you can start and stop at will, and if you're just doing it at home, and it's real easy to get into. So I did prepare this little presentation up here, and if you have, if you can't see it well, and you have your phone or your laptop or whatever, you can go to Dowie Farm /TSP18, and this will be there. Okay, it's not listed on the Google. But if you type that address in, Dowie Farm is DOWIE, and then farm /TSP18. This will always be there, and then there's a link to my Patreon and a link to my YouTube, and you can watch all my YouTube videos. And there's a lot of information free on my YouTube channel. So later on, if you're like, what the hell did this guy say about soil? There's a whole video on how to deal with the soil and all that stuff, and there's a ton of content on there. And I try to go deeper into realistic microgreen stuff. I'm not going to sit there and try to feed you a line of garbage about how it's a miracle food and all this stuff. It's silly to me. It's a healthy, good, fast, good food to grow. Cool. So the presentation here is microgreens production for preparedness and some spice in your life, because it's gonna. If you grow microgreens a lot, you're going to get these intense flavors for the food that you're already eating, or possibly new foods that you can add into your routine. And maybe for some of you that are like me, that just subsist on sausage and grilled chicken and steaks, maybe you can work a vegetable in this way. It's a possibility. So it's good stuff. So a microgreen, some of you might not know what it is, I guess, is just any vegetable seed for the most part. There's a few cucumbers don't work, which is I'm looking at Nick because he knows what that word is probably. Do you know what a cucumber is? Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, you're saying it.
It's in the cucumber family?
Perfect.
Sure, what he said. What is it?
Cucumber.
Oh, okay, cucabit. All right. Oh, I'm listening to R. I did it and said it like I'm in New England. All right, so no tomatoes, no cucumbers, no squash for micros. Almost everything else works. There are even now, I've discovered some trees that people are growing as microgreens. There's a Japanese mahogany tree. I just found these seeds, and they're only $280 a pound for the seeds. So run home, click through my links and buy that shit. All right, so I did not order those. I do have seeds that cost that, but I'm not yet. Not yet. So any vegetable seed, now you're thinking along the lines of brassicas and stuff, so broccolis, Brussels sprouts, turnips, rutabagas, cabbages, stuff like that. That's short grow, mid grow stuff, and that stuff will grow to its first true leaves in about 10 days in the right conditions. So you can crank these crops out in 10 days. You get shorter than that and grow something like these sunflowers that Jack beautifully grew, frankly, with very little instruction. And then there's a radish over here. This is like the all-star grower, the radish. We'll get into how much this stuff costs later, but this will grow at 75, 80 degrees in your house in like 5 days. And you can just crank this out. And this thing's gonna yield a pound of greens, so it's pretty cool. That sunflower will probably yield about, if we let it get a little taller before we put under lights and whatnot, you get 2 pounds out of that. So it's pretty cool, and you get 7 days. Your brassicas and stuff will go 10. But anyway, then you have some herbs that'll go 30, but that's a whole advanced microgreens, all right? So it is pretty fast growing, between 7 and 30 days, like I said. The nutrient density, now they make claims 4 to 40 times more nutrition in a microgreen. It is a little misleading because they're talking about this has 4 to 40 times more nutrition than, let's pretend this is a turnip green. This thing has more nutrition than the actual whole full-size turnip. Well, duh, it's all compacted into one thing, you know? So that's it's a little deceiving, but it is super nutritious, so it's good stuff. You can do a ton of different flavors, so you can have a ton of variety. You can do all these different brassicas, like I said. Like I said, you can do cilantro, which is like really slap you in the face cilantro flavor. So if you hate cilantro, you'll really extra hate this. And if you love it, then you'll like roll around in it. So I harvest cilantro and the whole room smells like fruit. That's how strong it is. It's interesting how it works out. But you can do basil and things like that. The basil's a little more faint tasting, but you can really add some different flavors. Like if you're eating steaks, or if you're eating burgers or wraps or salads, like I'll just take field green, mescaline blend, whatever, and I'll add radish and some brassicas to that salad. Instead of adding a bunch of vegetables, I'll throw this microgreen stuff in, and basically I've added all those vegetables now, and it's awesome. It like kicks it up real well. So you get all these flavors. Then the other thing that's cool about this kind of ties into what Nick was talking about. Let me just kind of scroll down here. Is you're going to plant this stuff and you're going to have all this soil, and you're going to have a ton of seeds that didn't actually go, right? And then you got to do something with it. So you can either just put it in a pile. Like I produce like a half a yard of soil a week that's a byproduct because I don't reuse it. You could, but I don't because I have to prevent mold in the grow room and whatnot.
I'm not getting sued.
Yeah, that whole listeria thing. So I produce like a half a yard of soil a week at least, and I give it to friends in the spring, and they go, I want garden soil, and I go, okay, I'll give you this soil, but you're not going to plant a garden this year because it is already a garden. So they're going to frame out a garden bed and fill it with this soil, and it's just going to grow kale and Brussels sprouts and broccoli and mustard greens and shiso and like all kinds of weird stuff. Cilantro will grow. If they got the bag where I screwed up around a cilantro, they will get a cilantro garden. Like the lady up the street harvested like 6 pounds of cilantro one day. It was like, does anybody want, like she was giving it away to all the neighbors. So it's pretty cool. You'll get a volunteer garden the first year. And that is just like, to me, in the preparedness world or and I kind of always equate preparedness to like thriftiness and not wasting stuff, It kind of all goes hand in hand, right? So if you're going to buy this high quality soil and buy these high quality seeds and eat this stuff, you're going to get that crop, and then you're going to just dump this stuff out somewhere, and you're going to get a whole nother crop, and you can basically ignore it, and it'll just grow. So it's pretty cool. And there's no weed seeds in it because it's like super high quality potting soil you're starting out with. So I've never weeded a microgreens volunteer garden in my life. I just let that thing go. And it's almost permaculture-y in this. I think about Jack talking about Sepp Holter broadcasting seeds. Was it him?
Yeah.
And it basically just comes to that effect. You just have this mound of stuff. It's pretty cool. The other thing you can do with it, though, is the seeds. Let me talk about seed qualifications. It's almost any seed, but you're really just looking for 85% germination rates and up is really what you want. If you get below that, you have to think about how dense you're planting these. If you have 30% of your seeds not germinating, you have rot, So, but anyway, Moving on. The next thing you can do with these leftovers, or you can grow for this, because I do this as well, is fodder for your animals. So we were talking about homestead animals with Nick, and you can take these byproducts. If you had rabbits and you cut this for yourself, right, and then fed that, and I did have 2 rabbits when I started this, 2 that never got eaten. They died on the farm on their own, and one's buried next to the cat. All right. Jim Brown, he's cool. Anyway, so big giant Flemish rabbits, they would pound through the root mass in these things. So I would just give them this thing, and when we cut this later, I mean, we'll show you, but you can see, you can hear the feedback. There's a massive root mass here, you know? I don't know if nope, okay, yeah, you know, it'll be fine. So here, oh, that worked out great. See all the roots? That's insane, you know? Like, and this will get more intense. You grow pea tendrils, it'll be even more root massy. And this is just, you know, you're gonna give them this part, and they're just gonna chow through it. And quail love it, amazingly enough. I have videos on my YouTube, I think, of quail just pounding through microgreens stubble, you know? And what's that? Yeah, the ducks and the chickens. When we did the class here last time, we fed that to your baby ducks, and they just go nuts. It's cool. So it is definitely, you know, a supplemental thing. And these sunflowers have close to 30% protein. So it's a high protein item to feed your animals, you know. So I also, so you can do the byproducts, but I will also buy bags, 40-pound bags of birdseed sunflower, and plant that, and just bang these things out, 2.5 pounds of flat, and just, there you go, straight to the ducks. To the point where they expect it and become bitchy. So, like, they wouldn't go in at night until I gave them fodder. For a while, they just stand there and look at me until I got the fodder trays out. So you can't run out of it. You know, it's like, it was interesting. They really get into it. It's cool stuff. And I'm sure you know, goats will eat anything. But I don't have livestock with hooves, basically, because that's forbidden where I live. So I'm positive they would eat this stuff. And I don't know what your production would have to be, but, you know, I'm sure 1 goat or something. All right. So moving on here, how do they go together with prepping? Who here has a seed storage situation for your preparedness? Just Jake. That guy. All right, I thought it'd be more. So I was thinking about so when I started doing this and I started buying seeds in bulk, I would get 300 pounds of pea seeds in a shot, right? And 50 pounds of cilantro seeds, and pounds, and I probably have 700 pounds of seeds kicking around my grow room, right? And I think to myself sometimes, I go, man, I see these people, they go on and they buy the seed things from Alex Jones. But some of them are legitimate, but you know, whatever, and some aren't, and blah, blah, blah. And they come and they're hermetically sealed or something, or they're in Mylar and they're in an ammo can or something. And I'm like, what, come on. Like, I am the seed bank. You know, like, look at this, 600 pounds of seeds. Just if the shit hits the fan tomorrow, I am Mr. Seed. You know, I'm gonna sit out front. I'm gonna be the Korean guy with the AR on top of the seed bank instead, you know? And I'm like, this is a cool prepper thing, you know, because like I have all these seeds, so I'm never worried about running out of seeds. And they're all real high quality, mostly open pollinated type, you know. There are some hybrids in there, you know, but there's a lot of non-hybrid seeds. And so you're done worrying about seeds, you know, and just having them around. And you can use the exact same seeds for your garden, you know, and whatever. So they're surprisingly inexpensive when, am I ahead of myself? Yeah, I'll get to there in a sec. Hang on. I don't want to get too far ahead. Oh, yeah, we talked about nutrition already. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the nutrition is a great way to add. I'm going to skip back to this expense thing in a minute, so give me a second. Very nutritious food, obviously, packed with, you know, vitamins or whatever, but you're controlling it too. So there's another preparedness factor is your health, right? And what are you putting into your body? And I know as a farmer, I just eat hot dogs. But farmers are the worst. Like, you grow all this really healthy stuff and you don't eat any of it. It's weird. It's like a chef, you know, I guess, that like never eats. They eat it, you know, see a chef at McDonald's. You're like, come on, man, you know, like, he's like, I'm just sick of cooking. It's every farmer I know, like, they're smoking and they eat there's a hot dog and a cigarette, you know, and it's like, dude, you grow the most nutritious food around, and they're like, no, I don't eat that. So, so this stuff, super nutritious, super flavorful, great stuff, and that's gonna be good in your preps, right? If you think about it, now the shit has hit the fan and you've got 20 pounds of seeds kicking around that you didn't spend a ton of money on, and you're eating rice and beans, right? and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can grow this awesome, flavorful, nutritious food, right? Or even, say the power goes out for like 6 weeks, right? You're not, I know that like, obviously the milk has been cleared out, but the salad at the supermarket's rotten. You can crank this stuff out dead of winter, in your house. So it's cool. So you're gonna have complete control over it. The seeds you buy from the seed sources I'll kind of give you, or your major seed suppliers for microgreen. If you go to microgreen specific seeds, they're never going to be coated. They're never really going to be GMOs. All right, I haven't run into them yet, and that's obviously a nice advantage. So you're buying a pound of radish seeds for $6, and they're from Kitazawa Seed Company in California, which is a really cool story. The guy was like interned during World War II, and then they came back out and just fired up their Japanese seed company again. It's pretty cool. You'll read the story. I get all my radish seed from them. It's like I get some expensive fancy kinds for like $28 a pound, but it all tastes the same. It's all about the colors with that, So like the cheapest seed they sell is like $5 or $6 a pound. It comes in a nice little Ziploc bag, and it's non-GMO, and it's non-coated, and it's like 95% germination, and that stuff will germinate. Actually, the seeds Jack has planted over there germinated like crazy, and they might be 2 years old. Like, I think I got them, held on to them for like a year. Or no, were they the ones for the class? They're 2 to 3 years old, and it's like they haven't lost a step, So, as far as seed on hand goes, it's great stuff. Good, high quality seed, and, non-coated, all that. So you have control over your food supply in that sense, right? So that's a nice thing to have. And like I was saying, I kind of got ahead of myself. They're surprisingly inexpensive when you eliminate the marketing bullshit. Like, so if you take away buy this seed bank and you get like 19 packets of seeds for like $85, I could have got you 40 pounds of, no, I don't know, like a massive amount of really high quality seeds for that money if you're buying them a pound at a time or so. And you can also get smaller quantities from like True Leaf and whatnot. You can get quarter pounds and stuff, but it's not worth it. Just go with the pounds. Most of this stuff is between like $10 and $20 a pound. And if you're going to commit to growing this stuff, and like I said, it lasts 3 years, so even if you don't, you got some time, a pound is going to go, within 6 to 8 months probably. So, cool. And like I said, they'll come in a Mylar bag or a nice Ziploc, and they last a long time. Cool. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. All right. How much does this stuff cost? So you're going to think like, this must be expensive. No. So radish, I'm missing a parentheses. Red arrow radish, all right, $6 a pound, like I said. It's gonna grow you 11 of these trays, okay? And it's gonna produce 12 to 16 ounces, so I think I put 14. Yeah, so the average. That's 9.5 pounds of radish greens, right? For $6 plus I estimated $1 per tray soil cost, right? And we'll get into soil. $1.80 a pound for radish greens. Like, that's pretty damn good. You go to the store, you buy the little package of the pre-cut mesclun blend, the organic, Olivia's Organics, or whatever I don't know if they have that down here. And it's what, $6, and it's like 12 ounces, right? So we're way ahead of the game in cost already, Move on to salad mix. Sunflower is $2.13 a pound or so. Salad mix, you're at $3.29 a pound, and that's a seed blend you buy from Mountain Valley, and it's all this stuff mixed together. It's all your brassicas. And it's amazing, So you can really crank it out, and it can get cheap. And like I said, with the birdseed sunflower, if you have animals at home you want to grow fodder for, super easy, right? 45 cents a pound for 30% protein.
I'll totally eat that.
And what do you pay for 30% protein feed is, I pay $18 for 50 pounds.
We get a 40-pound bag at Tractor Supply for like $16.
Yeah, so.
And I'll eat that. I'll eat the green.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
It's got to be Yeah, and that's the other thing. So I grow these for commercial production. I buy $6 a pound sunflower seeds to grow, and they got to be the black oil, no stripe, and so on for restaurants because the other ones taste a little funny. They taste too green, For your birds, whatever, it doesn't matter. And for yourself, honestly, they're fine, because I've done the research. And obviously there's some margin of error here. There's a possibility I'm wrong. But from everything I've researched, no one sprays sunflower crops because they don't need to be because they're allelopathic, right? And nothing really. They just don't have a problem, So nothing gets sprayed. They don't spray for weeds by the looks of it. They're not spraying them when they're not genetically modified. This was as of a year ago. I don't think they need, why would they, like any farmer Why are they going to spend money they don't need to spend? You know what I mean? Like, I worry, I go, do you spray this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right. Like, I don't need to. Why would I spend massive amounts of money on whatever, you know? So you can totally eat the birdseed sunflower. I wouldn't grow it to sell to restaurants. That's all. No. Cool? If you're going to do birdseed sunflower, hydrogen peroxide helps to, in your soak time. We have to soak certain seeds, sunflower and peas and the big seeds, for like 6 hours. If you hit that with a little peroxide, just household peroxide is great. In the beginning, you'll see it foam when it's the birdseed stuff, and then rinse it real good, and it's just good to go. The only difference I've ever seen between the birdseed and the super expensive $6 a pound stuff is it's cleaner. There's no twigs. Yeah, like, and you know, so whatever. And that stuff can be a mold catalyst, I guess, but whatever, you're fine. Cool. Any questions on anything there so far? I'll get a question in. All right, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Setup materials list. Trying to blow through this. This is a pretty complete list of the stuff you would need to start at home. And like I said, I'm going to leave this page up forever, so the /TSP18, you can just always get this on your phone. It's a PDF file, or on your computer. Jack spent about $50 over there to set up that rack, okay? Right? Just under?
Yeah, $47.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's like a home. You're not going to grow this because it would fit this, but the light's probably not going to do it. But you can grow these things at home, so you don't have to go out and buy these greenhouse trays. But if you do, you can get them at dowiefarm.com, 100 at a time. Anyway, so for a better price than almost anybody else. So you can grow these almost anything. Like Jack showed me, he had them in I don't have the containers link. Did you buy those on Amazon?
No, they were free.
Oh, okay. Are they just takeout containers?
Clamshells from the squash that we made squash soup for you guys to eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just took the clamshells.
Oh, from the store then. So yeah, so any
the
plasticky whatever from the store, pop some holes in it, you got a MicroGreens tray. You're good to go. If you have a couple that are the same size, you're better off because you need to stack these things sometimes, or always almost, or whatever. But you're gonna have a lid probably, right? The same size, so you're good, you know? And then he has it sitting next to some egg cartons, and I go, you could totally just grow microgreens in these egg cartons, like, and just move on, and then compost the whole thing, you know, or whatever. So it's a pretty cool setup. It's just a nice LED light that goes to a fish tank, and then it's that rack. Yeah. And if you just had that sitting on your kitchen or in a spare room on your counter, if that was sitting in your kitchen counter, your wife wouldn't get mad. Or for the 4 women that are here, your husband wouldn't get mad. So, or oh wait, it's 2018, so
it's a $25 aquarium.
I have to remember a bunch of letters. No.
You don't need the dish rack. I just had it, and I'm like, oh, that works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Stand if you want it.
Yeah, and I always said, when I first started, I had that little that plastic shelf in the living room, and I looked at it, and I had just eaten some scallions and whatnot, and I stuck them in a mason jar with water, and I stuck them under the light, right? And all that is all I use is Home Depot 2 T8 light bulb fixtures. That's it, like, you know, whatever, right? Yeah, the racks are over there. Those are the racks in the back, and those are the lights. So if anybody wants to skim by and take a look, those white racks. That's what I started on. And those T8 bulbs, 6500K, did I say that right? I like looking at Pocket Nick. And like, shit, Pocket Nick. Forgot about that idea. That was a good idea. Pocket Nick is an app where you get a live connection to Nick Ferguson.
Hey, all right.
For $1.99 a month. It's a great idea. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway. $1.99. Well, it's not one of those sites. Yeah. So yeah, we'll up it to might need to provide that at a discount actually. So 99 cents a month. So anyway, I use T8 lights, 6500K bulbs. If you throw a cool light in that thing, now you have a kind of a grow light. You have a full spectrum, right? You want to go to T5 probably. But a warm light, is that what it's, sorry, it's 4500K, whatever?
Whatever you told me to buy, about one of each.
Yeah, you ended up with one of each, and then I learned you didn't need that from my Pocket Nick.
700K is perfect. 65 is close enough.
Yeah, but if you wanted to go full spectrum, you'd go one cool, one bright?
No, I just do stick with 65.
Oh, you just do 65? Oh.
That's cheap.
The interwebs lied to me. This is why we need Pocket Nick. All right, so you can take those lights and just set that up anywhere in your house, like, and make it look nice. Stick one of those crappy compressed wood shelves you get at Walmart on your wall or whatever, and hang that light over it, and you've got room for 2 of these trays, you know, or a multitude of small trays where you grow a ton of variety. And the way I suggest it with the seeds is like, if you're gonna do this at home, say you like radish and you like sunflowers, and you're not sure about other stuff, right? Go to one of these seed companies that I should throw links on. I'll throw links on this page tonight, those seed companies, and buy those 2 things. And then next month, buy one more something. If you spend $35 on True Leaf, you get free shipping. If you go through Jack's TSP, most of us are probably MSB members, right? Jack has any seeds. I actually did finally start using them. Their prices weren't quite right for me for a while, and then I ended up getting the borage from them. Yeah. And I got something else. I don't remember. I took a picture of it, put it on Facebook. But you get a discount through any seeds. You get a discount. High Mowing sells microgreen seeds. We get a discount through them. And then these other companies that he needs to get on top of. So, no. So yeah, I will. It's a good idea. So get 2 pounds to start out, or spend the $35 to get shipping, or go to High Mowing and get free shipping, whatever. And then add a seed next month, and add a seed the month after that. And you're not going to be out of the first ones, you know. And then you're going to have 6 different kinds of these things growing all the time, and it's going to be awesome variety, you know. All right, moving on to the materials. Sorry. I guess seeds are a material, right? This link will take you in the file right to Jack's shelf and the light, that white link. So next thing you need is a good quality potting soil. And I always give this example of Dr. Earth Pot of Gold potting soil because I'm pretty sure Home Depot carries it. I started out using that. It's good potting soil. I used that for the first 6 months I was in business, and it was great. And I used it straight out of the bag. So you can do this straight out of the bag, which is what Jack did for these samples, right? I mix my soil heavy with perlite because I do an auto watering type flood table system, and I need the leeway of the not as much soil capacity for water, right? But it also, the perlite gives you room for error, right? So you don't have great airflow or something like that in this room or whatever. It gives you a margin of error in that soil too. It really opens it up, it makes it more aerobic, you know. Right? Did I got all that right, Pocket Nick? All right, good stuff. Our soil expert too. So where's Fir Trees at? So bag of soil, $12, pot of gold, or an equivalent. So if you have a local, I use a local one now. If you can get a hold of some Fox Farm, that's great. But you want to spend $10 to $15. You know, don't buy the $1, $2 bag at Depot. I don't think. Maybe you can try it. I was afraid to, but I needed to make money, so whatever. Big bag of perlite like this thing, and I have some pictures at the end of this you can see. But this monster here is 4 cubic feet. And it'll last you a while at home, right? And it's like $28,
I think
maybe?
a little less than that.
Less than that? Yeah, I get them for 18, but I buy a shitload of them. Anyway, I go through 6 a week or something. So that perlite, $25. For $37, you've got, or you have to double this one. Sorry, you'd have to have 2 of those to mix it 50-50 if you want to. You don't have to go 50-50 with potting soil or with the perlite. You can go 30 to 70%, somewhere in that range. And you can play with it to see where you get the best results. You know, you're not at a lot of money, and you're going to get out of a bag of soil mixed, you know, 30% even with the perlite, you're going to get like 40 of these trays out of that bag of soil. Just put it in perspective. So that soil is going to last you a while. Keep it sealed up so you don't get hydrophobic soil after a while. So, you know.
That was a brand new bag.
Yeah, that sucks. He got a bag of hydrophobic soil from Fox Farm, which is like, they're usually the standard for this kind of soil. Anyway, you're gonna pay $18 for that bag.
About that.
That's why I go to Depot and get it's organic, it's good. Dr. Earth's good brand, you know, like knock that out for $12 and be on your way. All right, so plants containers we talked about. You could use any Tupperware. You go to the Chinese place, you get some fried rice in that black container, that the new nice ones they use. There you go. You got plants container right there. Anything that you can drill holes in. Good stuff. Something to scoop soil with helps. That's nice to have. Go to a restaurant, steal an ice scoop. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I have an ice scoop because I worked at restaurants for 24 years or something. That works great for me, but you can just scoop with like an old cup or whatever. Your hands is fine, but like, you know, it helps. Tablespoons or a scale to weigh your seeds out. You could eyeball it, but you know, it helps to know how much you're putting on there and what you're yielding if you want to play with that. And brown paper towels. The hard roll paper towels, everybody know what I'm talking about? You see them in a bathroom when they come out, yeah. They're not easily had, I guess, right? If you're just a consumer. You can get them on Amazon by the case if you really want to for like $30 for 6 rolls. But you can walk into your neighborhood place where you go out to eat and go to the restaurant manager or whatever I say, hey man, I noticed you have brown paper towels in your bathroom, and I have one of those things at my house. Can I buy a roll of paper towels off you? And they will almost always go, here, just take one. They might roll their eyes a little hard at you, but whatever. Now you have a whole roll of these stupid paper towels that you're only gonna use for this, and they're gonna last forever, right? And they're like 800 feet on one of these rolls. So that's how I recommend it. The household paper towels are funky when you do it. I don't know why, I think they're just too thick or something. Like they don't really work the way I like them. Did you use them for this? I've always just had bad luck.
No print.
Is that what? No print.
Because I don't know what dye's in there or whatever.
That okay, and that's the other reason to avoid them. You gotta be careful with that kind of stuff, I guess. I mean, you don't have to, I guess, but you know, whatever.
You can dye. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what else? We breathe all day, and it's shit in the air. So anyway, but the brown paper towels work awesome, and then you can just fire them into the compost pile or out back with the birds, and it just doesn't matter. And when you pull that thing off, there's gonna be a bunch of seedlings and stuff stuck to it, and you can just give that to the ducks and they'll pick all the seeds off and whatever. So you don't have to think about it. I throw bags of those, because I use so many, into my yard, and I don't know where any of them are. They like disintegrate. It's like wicked fast. So I'm sure that the regular paper towels probably take a while longer. All right, and a hose and a sprayer, obviously, to wet this stuff. I did this in my house with 100 trays for a year and carried these things 30 feet to my kitchen sink to water them every day, which was hell. But anyway, I like traumatic thinking about it. But my point is, you use your kitchen sink, right, to just spray these things, like when you're planting and when you're watering them. You know, and if you do the other advantage of a lot of perlite is you can just soak the soil and you don't have to water them for a few days, you know. So it's kind of a set it and forget it. You might, if you do sunflowers right, if you watch my video on YouTube about how to do sunflowers and you just follow those steps, you can water sunflowers once, and that's it. So twice. You're gonna plant them and water them. You're gonna soak them, and then you're gonna stack them, germinate them, put a dome on them to get some height, and then put them under lights, water them, and then you're gonna cut them in 2 days. And it's like very set and forget type thing. And I know all that stuff I just said to have. You just went, what the hell is he talking about? If you watch that video, you'll know. And we're gonna get into some of that planting steps in a minute here. Oh, next, sorry, planting instructions. So. And we're not gonna pull out the stuff and do it here because it ends up taking like an hour. But basically, you're gonna prep your trays, whatever you use, and make sure they're clean. And I like to label them. So at home, masking tape, marker, whatever. Put the date on it when you're planting it. Write down what it is, and you're good to go. Maybe at home, you want to throw how much seed you put on it, so you can kind of compare results, right? Mix your soil if you're using perlite. If not, scoop that soil, put it into your trays. Okay. You're gonna spray that down, get it pretty good and wet. Now, if you're using perlite, like I said, you can spray it until it's draining out the bottom and you almost can't overwater it. I know that's dangerous to say because you can, but it's hard, right? If you're not, you just wanna get that pretty wet, okay? Then you can spread your seeds. You weigh them, measure them out somehow, spread your seeds. What you're looking for is basically 1/8 of an inch apart. That's how much seed we're talking about here. So this sunflower tray took 5 ounces, 6 ounces, somewhere in that range. Yeah, it depends. Depends on the seed. You want to play with that a little bit. Sometimes you get seeds that are finicky and you have to go a little lower. Your brassicas, your broccolis and stuff like that, the smaller seeds, you go about 7/10 of an ounce to a tray, this big tray. So I haven't ever grown in those little trays, so I don't know how to scale that down, and it's probably like 2/10 of an ounce on that little tray. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, yeah, they went heavy, but radish can do that. Yeah. If that was like purple cabbage, it'd be dead. But like 1/8 of an inch apart, spread out. Don't plant them individually. That's take way too long. But like just a little, like I use little mason jars and I just spread them, and it's good to go. And all that, once again, YouTube channel, it's everywhere. Like there's 50 videos of me doing that, so you can see all that stuff. Now you're gonna spray it again. You got your seeds broadcast, you're gonna hit it again quick with a sprayer just to get that soil contact, right? And then you're gonna cover that with the paper towels, spray it one more time. And then a lot of these seeds wanna be stacked and have pressure. And I know this sounds strange, but you would take this one and put it right on top of that one. And that's part of the reason for these paper towels, so you don't blast all the seeds onto the bottom of that next tray. And it also kind of mimics the soil layer, that paper towel layer. These are gonna push this tray up an inch or so, and it's just they're doing push-ups at this point. And it really makes them, the stacking phase, a lot of people skip it. It really makes them grow even, is what it does. And it's pretty neat how they'll like come up nice and even like that. And if you don't stack them, they grow all jagged, and then some get behind the others and they don't grow right, and then you get some rot, and you don't want that. So you're gonna stack them, they're gonna grow an inch, and then once they're about that high, and I'll show you some pictures, you're gonna take that off, spray it again, put it under your lights, and you're good to go. If it's sunflower, the only reason I'll do an inverted tray on top of these things. If you're doing this at home, you don't have another tray to invert, you can just stick it in a closet. You're just looking for darkness. You want these to get this tall probably before you uncover them, because they're gonna they're shed. Yeah, it's fine. They obviously turn out fine either way. They're gonna shed the hulls easier, is what's gonna happen, because these seed hulls will stick to the leaves. So you get some height on them, take that dome off 2 days under the lights, and they're just gonna, all the seeds fall off. So it's kind of nice. Cool. And then that's what stack and weight. So stacking is stacking the trays. If you're not gonna do 2 trays, you can just put another tray on top of it and stick a brick on it, and you're good to go. So, or some bags of beans work. Heated water in a bottle of water, yeah. So just some kind of weight that is the equivalent of like another one of those trays on top of it. So think that way. You know, how much does this weigh? I want that weight on top of it. Sorry? How many deep? You can, they say you can go 9. I never do that because you start getting anaerobic. So I used to go 3 or 4, and you can just do that. I go 1 bottom layer, 1 top layer, because there are crops you don't put weight on. So basil, most of your herbs you don't weight, and you don't paper towel. You just mist them, get them real wet. I do a little vermiculite to maintain some water and some moisture, just because my grow room is like 45% humidity, and it'll suck it right out. And then I put that on top of this. So I have a bottom layer like a sunflower, and then I have a top layer that's like a basil on everything. Because I plant so many of those, though, I almost have to do it that way. Because so I have room for all these like herb toppers. I call them toppers, right? So if I plant 36 flats of brassicas, I need to come up with 36 toppers. It's no problem, because I need to plant like 60. You know, so cilantro, basil, carrots, fennel, the real touchy stuff goes on the top. Arugulas do much better without a top layer too. So, which is that type of a seed. Mustards are in that same category. So if you're gonna do like Mizuna or a spicy wasabi mustard or something like that, which is really good on burgers. So you grow some micro lettuce and you grow some micro wasabi, right? And you've spent, by the way, $15 on 2 pounds of seeds right now, right? And you've got awesome burgers for a long time, you know, and wraps and whatnot. And you throw some radish into that, it's awesome stuff. Sunflowers are awesome on burgers too, because they're nutty, kind of, and it just adds a real interesting flavor. Cool. Oh, I spelled weight wrong. Oh no, weight, no, that's the right weight. Cool. You're gonna wait the right amount of time until they lift, uncover them, go under the lights, and then harvest them ready. Cool? Cool. So we have some pictures I'm gonna show you. There's soil mixed with perlite. All right, that's the ratio is like a good. Look at that mixed soil. I figured out how to use the putting words on the camera thing. Figured that out like 3 days ago. All right. I feel so proud of myself. All right. This is the soil and the perlite I use. It's basically perlite, chunky perlite. And then I use this Master Nursery bumper crop soil, which is made from like lobster shells and stuff. It's out of Maine. It's good stuff. So any of you are in Maine? No? All right. Didn't think so. These are ready for lights. So these are just out of the tray. I got some, the tray is in there for perspective. This is a 1 1/4 inch tall tray, okay? So those kohlrabi micros are about 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch high. So that's when they're ready to go under some lights. And that is at about 3 days at 72 degrees. So 3 days, you're ready, you planted, 3 days later, that's how big they are, right? And you're going to lights. And then about a week after that, they're this tall and awesome. So, cool. And then blah, 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 there's some sunflowers, which are right there. And that's just a picture of sunflowers, because I like it. All right? That's what I got for now. So we have a bag of soil out there, and we have some perlite. So if anybody is interested in getting hands-on and, like, you know, maybe spreading some of this in a tray and seeing how I do that, and see what the hydrophobic soil looks like, and maybe just wants a little further instruction or whatever on how to do it, like how to apply it maybe, if the description wasn't adequate, I guess. And then, like I said, I know I said YouTube 14 times, but literally everything is on my YouTube channel. It's nuts. And I have a Patreon too now. So when you click on the website, you can go to Patreon.
Can they support you on
So
Patreon?
you can support me on Patreon.
What?
It's insane. And I do, if you want to go into business doing this, I do wicked in-depth extra videos on Patreon. That's what I do on my YouTube channel. I do general, this is what's going on in the grow room. Check this out, you know. Patreon, I do, here's 15 minutes on pea tendrils and everything you would ever want to know about growing a pea tendril. And then there's an instructional page and all that. So it's real in depth. But yeah, so if you're missing steps in here, you know, that's how we can fill in the gaps here. And then I'm going to do something on the business end of this in marketing. Question time? Do we have time?
Yeah, we have plenty of time. I'm going to walk to y'all and
What is my
you go
time?
first.
Am I still on live Facebook?
This is not working. So
Oh my,
we're changing it back.
What is
We're gonna
happening?
Talk loud and repeat his question. before we
yeah,
answer.
I'll do that. It's a good idea. It's almost like professional.
I'm all- I'm gonna do it for a living.
All right, who has a question?
didn't really-
Any
You
questions?
didn't really get into temperature. Let's say
Yes.
I want to do this in the basement this winter. It's going to
Yep.
be 66. Would I use a heat blanket? Or?
That's a great question that I forgot to include in the presentation. Yeah, so your climate you're looking for, you could do a heat blanket. That would work. Optimal, microgreens are babies, okay? So think babies. What do babies want for temperature? 72 degrees and 50% humidity, right? What do we want when we go on vacation? Because we're babies when we go on vacation now. So with 72 degrees, 50%, that's optimal. 72 degrees, 45%, 50% humidity. They will grow from 68 to like 75. After 75, you get into like possible too hot. Now you can grow certain types of fungus and mold. And below that 68, you get into that world too. Hotter will grow faster, colder will grow slower. Okay, so and this just happens. Like I grow sunflower in 5 days in the summer and in 7 days in the winter, indoors. So, because I have temperature fluctuations too. But Brad Davies he's not here, Piker. He did a heat pad like you're talking about, the agricultural ones. And he had great results. They went up fast. But he was a little too hot, and he ended up with some rot. So you want to moderate that, yeah, down to about 72. And I'm sure the 72 can be the soil temperature, right? Nick? Come on, man, pay attention.
Pocket Nick.
So
Can 72 degrees be the
you could probably do 72 soil temperature and not worry as much about the ambient air. Would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just for germination.
Yeah. And then does that answer your cool question?
Okay, who's
Cool.
next?
And there's some leeway in there.
Oh,
temperature-wise.
I'm by Jessica.
I use grow mats at 71.
You do it 71 grow mats? Nice. Yeah.
Okay, this may
question.
be kind of silly, but whenever you're, do you need to get
I was
that?
getting a telemarketing call. It said it was a scam.
Whenever you're planting, I read Luke's book too, and
Yeah.
that's how I started. But do you press the soil before you put your seeds down, or do you skip that step now that you
I
have
now skip
300?
that. Yeah, I
Okay.
started skipping that a long time. So the question is in Luke's book, and this is Jessica, she's also a master grower. In Luke's book, he says to use a tamper.
Yeah, I use a piece of cardboard.
Yep.
And with a string.
Yeah.
And I just mash it.
I went and built that too.
Yeah.
And then I burnt it. no, yeah, I did too. Yeah. I didn't like it. Eventually, I just started spreading. Here we are, I'm spreading the soil, right? I started doing that, and I liked the aeration in the soil, so I stopped tamping it. And then I also realized once I spread the seeds and I sprayed it, that did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then when you stack too.
Yeah, and then you're stacking. Yeah, so it's like, what am I doing this step for? And then the other thing in the book was he was unstacking and watering often, right? Did you see that? Or am I making things up? I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Wait, what are you?
So 9 flats high now. You've stacked all your trays, and he's taking them off and spraying them every couple of days.
Yeah, so you did.
While they're I've completely not. I never do that.
Really?
Oh God, no. I don't have time for that. So I've managed to just streamline it. I put the soil. I mix my soil. I put it in the tray. I spray it. I spread seeds. I put a paper towel on it, stack it, and I don't look at it again until it's this tall.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm done with it. And then it goes under lights.
And the sunflower trick that you were talking about?
Yeah. That's like
hated those.
secret knowledge. Yeah.
Yes, 'cause you beat them up trying to like.
Yeah, because so every microgreens grower that has a question for me on the interwebs goes, how do I get these seed hulls off these sunflowers? And I'm like, just grow them 6 inches high and they all fall off.
That's worth it.
You know, right?
There, just that little.
And learn how to grow cilantro. But like a lot of people are doing this all the time to try to get these stupid seed hulls off. See this see that. That's the big, and most of these people are selling to chefs that I'm dealing with, so they don't want to sell that to a chef, understandably. And that is time consuming, taking those off. So if you give them that height before you uncover them, they get more, as a sunflower would grow in nature, right? We're doing our permaculture thing here now. This is how I came to it. I was like, well, if this was in nature, it would get really tall. And how tall would it need to be before that stupid seed hole fell off? You know what I mean? So just get the leaves bigger, get it taller, and then they all start doing this, and they're doing, see it fell off. They're doing this, and when they do that, it'll either fall off or stick to one, and then when that other one gets a little bigger, it'll fall off. And you end up with like 5% still. But I'm washing every green I grow anyway before I sell it to a chef. Not necessary at home.
Do you spin them?
If you want to see the time-consuming part, harvest, wash, spin, dry, weigh in package, refrigerate. It's a big circle in the grow room. So there's
like
a video
good
of that.
video.
There's a video of that.
Oh.
And it's free on YouTube. What
is
am I
it free
doing?
on YouTube? I don't. Boy,
Yeah, I could take that one down right now. So yeah.
Hey, so I have the Home Depot rack.
Nice.
How many shelves do you have? Is it like the 6-foot rack?
Yep.
Okay, and then how many shelves would you use? And
You can do as many as you want.
What's the distance between the light
Great question.
bulb and the top of the dirt?
Yep. Okay. So the question is, how many shelves would I go, and what's the distance between the light bottom, and the top of the tray? Which is the exact question you want, by the way. It's not where the greens are once they're grown, right? So the way the shelves come actually works. So my distance because I use adjustable racks and I set them up. Different crops, different heights is what I end up with, because they all grow different heights, right? Sunflowers, I'll grow them to 6 inches, so I don't want a light at 12, because then they'll grow to the middle, right? Because they'll grow to the lights. So if you have one light down the center of this, it's gonna do that, right? And then you get, they bunch together and they'll rot. So 2 lights on that shelf is optimal, by the way. Yeah, 4 bulbs is fantastic, but not 100% necessary. So save some money, whatever. That light with the light bulbs is $25. That light is $25. So however route you're going. 12 inches is a good number from the top of that soil to the bottom of the light if you're just growing basic stuff. If you're going to go pea tendrils, and the radish is kind of in this department, and the sunflowers, you want to go to like 14. So like I would say 12 to 14 inches would be a good rule of thumb, and then you can play with it from there. The Home Depot racks are bigger than that, those white racks we're talking about, but the lights come with chains, and you can just kind of do your thing. So, and I go as high, the answer to how many shelves is if the ceiling was 30 feet tall, I would put some ridiculous amount of shelves and have one of those rolling ladders, so, like some guy that helped me. So yeah, I mean, that's as high as you want to go with them.
And one last thing about the cutting. So when you make
Yep.
a decision, it's time to cut.
Yep.
How high is the dirt already compared to the top of the tray?
Yeah.
Is it like a settling or whatever? And then what kind of a knife or whatever, and what's the process?
Yep, so there's a lot of ways to cut them. So the question is, how are we harvesting them, right? In a nutshell. And has the dirt compressed? Not really on the dirt if you're doing it right, because it's about where it was, which is kind of interesting because you'd think with the root mass it would push up or something. It doesn't. So when I plant, I got the soil about this far from the top ridge of the tray, maybe right to it, because then when I sprayed it, it goes down about 1/8 of an inch. And then I broadcast the seeds, and that way I can use the edge of the tray as a guide. I use a chef knife is he in here? The guy with the beard? Yeah. He overcharged me for that chef. No, I'm just kidding. He actually undercharged me for that chef knife. But I use some really nice chef knives because I'm cutting nonstop, right? So I have 3 of these, like wicked expensive, super sharp, right? You don't need that. There's $11 knives on Amazon. You could use your kitchen knife at home. It wouldn't matter. If you're doing these whole trays, you want to make it fast. I saw a guy using a hedge shear, the handheld hedge shears. He puts it up like this. It goes, and I'm just like, how come I haven't thought of that? I cut 37 of those a week. So with a friggin' knife, yeah. So scissors work. I mean, you can just use the same type, not the same exact scissors you use to kill your quail. Don't use the same one. And then, but yeah. So is that everything we talked about?
Yeah. Can we move on to something?
They say you can get a second cutting out of peas. I've never done it, but I'm selling to restaurants, so I'm not playing the game.
It works.
It does work. Okay. You get 2, just out of peas, right?
Yeah, it's like.
The other stuff won't.
It's like 60% on these.
Yeah, the other stuff won't do it. It just because you've cut it and it's done.
Hey, my question is,
Where are you? Who's
how
talking?
do you,
Oh, hey,
guy with Mike,
it's God.
how do you find and build your customer base?
We're gonna touch on this a lot on Friday, right? Okay. Saturday? Sorry, but that's okay. It's in-person samples. Tons of samples in person. Usable samples are important. So I show up with too much. And I go, hey man, I know you might already buy these from somebody, but mine are better. Let his rot in the fridge in 3 days. Watch mine last for a week. I don't say it like this, but you know what I mean. And then I give him the samples and I say, here's 5 different microgreens, 4 ounces each. So I've just given that guy $100 worth of microgreens probably, or 60, 80 bucks, right, in cost, his cost. And then he just plays with them, and usually I get that customer. If I visit 4 restaurants, I get 1. The 3 that don't use me are either already really committed to somebody for never a good reason, and then the other 2 just don't use them, you know what I mean, or don't have a need. And yeah, but we're gonna dig into how to use Yelp, that kind of stuff, how to approach chefs, like, you know, and all that stuff. There's hours of the day, and I have another one of these for that. So. Is that good? You good? Yep, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure I forget stuff, so. If it's
On
a
cutting the microgreens,
Yep.
have you ever considered using one of those electric turkey slicing
I have.
knives?
We did it here, didn't we? Yeah, it works. So I don't use things that have 2 blades pinch at my operation because it bruises the ends. Okay?
good.
And I get, with the sunflower and radish especially, I'll get a brown end quicker, right? And it's
to
just
know.
a minutia. Like to you at home, yes, use those, absolutely. I use those to cut egg cartons in half. And I buy them at Goodwill, $5. I got one from the 70s, I love it. So the electric turkey carving knives, right? That's what you're talking about. So that's the serrated blades that do one of these. It is wicked fast on micros, right? But like I said, it pinches them. But like it's only aesthetic though. That's all it is. So.
But that's important.
It's important to me in a business end. To you at home, cranking out greens for your family, for the kids. They wanted pizza anyway. Just eat the stupid greens. Yes, with brown ends. I got one guy there, and then you.
For at-home use, if you're making this for your family, is there any way that you could take outside soil that's good and fertile and turn it into soil that you can actually use for microgreens?
My answer is, so can you use your own soil, is the question, essentially, right? So if you had a compost pile, or you just had good soil, can you bring that in and use it? My short answer is I wouldn't bother because that soil is so cheap, okay? In the grand scheme of things, you're at $1 a tray for this big tray, right? Because you don't know what that's pretty controlled. Guys that make that soil, I don't want pointing at the perlite, but you know what I mean. Guys that make this potting soil, they're testing it, they got the lab, you know? And they're not, I don't know, Nick's probably a good answer for this. You probably have an answer for this, right?
Whether you should use your own soil?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can.
You can.
And to me, it's not worth the risk. That's my short answer. But I'm selling to chefs. So for your home growing, what do you think? I guess where I fall short on this is I don't know about possibly introducing things you don't want because birds shit on the soil outside, right? And bird shit carries salmonella.
Well, your situation is this. Let's say
I can kill
somebody
people.
gets sick.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with his microgreens, but they don't figure it out. But he's the weak link.
Yeah.
The restaurant owner rolls over on him.
Yeah, I'm the scapegoat.
They come out and they they do a deposition, and if you find out that he's using soil from his compost pile, right? He loses all business over it.
Yeah, but for at home use.
I grow my microgreens in my wicking beds.
Yeah.
I throw down a bunch of seed. I put a garbage bag on top of it. I throw a couple boards on it. I wait till it raises up, and I pull it off, and it just grows.
Yeah.
So I mean.
So yes, if you wanna. But you didn't hear it from me, man. Shit, it's not. Oh, it's not on Facebook anymore.
I tracked that for about 4 months on using wild soil. And again, most of mine I'm growing on my wicking beds. But when I'm growing in the pot tents, if I either wild soil or just reusing the soil, I have about a 20 to 30% germination failure rate. I don't know what it is, but remember, you're in a much more humid environment or
and you're
drier environment.
Packing these seeds in,
It's the perfect area for a random ship to grow.
Yeah, and that's part of the.
So I don't do it just because we're on investment.
Sunflowers in real life never, ever, ever would ever grow like this. Like even if the seeds fell this way, they just wouldn't do it. Yeah. So, and like, so you already have a very growth possible environment for funky things.
It was 20 up to 30%.
And you lost germination, which was probably something to do with damping off or something along those lines or something,
Frustration.
Yeah, so it's probably not worth it, I guess, that's the other answer. But okay, from a preparedness step, if you're in the pinch though, right? Sure, absolutely, right? I guess. Did I answer your question good enough? Because I don't really know the answer.
Okay, we got one here from
We're stumbling
Jason.
through that answer.
Hey, do you have a preference over the short tray or the tall tray? I mean, I know it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I've actually changed a little bit of stuff. The stuff, it doesn't matter what the depth of the tray is, but the short trays that I use, I have real sturdy, shallow 1 1/4 inch trays, 10-20 trays. And they don't break. Do you have some of those here? Yeah, they don't break and is easy, and you can I have a video on my YouTube channel that's a commercial because I sell them and I'm just slamming them on the counter and they're not breaking, right? And then the ones you buy just at the greenhouse store just are like paper, right? So most of my crops in shallow trays to save soil because I'm at 80 cents a tray, right? My sunflowers I do in the deep trays now, and I just double them for strength, the tray. And I'm doubling my soil costs, but I get a ½ a pound more sunflower out of that, which is crazy. The yield difference is nuts. It only works on my sunflowers. We're gonna eat some borage at some point here, like the flower, and it's gonna taste like cucumbers. That I grow in a deep tray because it pounds through water, because it's a succulent, I think, right? Is it? Kind of, yeah. So, for the sake of today, it's a succulent. All right, so and it just dries out so fast. So I go deep soil on that one. So the answer to the question of does it matter what depth tray you use, I guess, right, is it depends.
I didn't see that answer coming.
Yes.
Okay, we got one here from Michael.
I worked it in. No.
So I got 2 questions. Jimmy Kimball, does he grow microgreens?
He does now. I just taught him the other day.
Okay.
We were hanging out, eating some pizza.
And I get brewer's grain by the ton.
tell him to do that?
Every week.
Yeah.
We get a ton of brewer's grain.
Yeah.
Finding lots of uses for it. Could I grow my microgreens inside the brewer's grain instead of using potting soil?
I think you'd get a lot of mold.
A lot of mold.
I think you would get a lot of. Oh, could you grow microgreens or brewer's grains? I talked to a guy online the other day who grows his microgreens in. This is unrelated, but it's kind of interesting, and it is a little related. In carpet scraps from his carpet industry company. Like, so he does carpets, and he gets all these, and he cuts them, and he uses them to grow microgreens, and he sells to chefs. So I don't want to dispose who he is. He was telling, and I go, you grow it in so he flips the carpet as that plastic mesh, and he grows in that, and then he throws it away when he's done. So he was a nice guy.
Is it old carpet?
No, new, brand new carpet. Remnants.
It's old. Remember, the off-gassing thing with carpet?
It's interesting. So I think the point is you could probably figure out how to grow in almost anything, right? But the brewer's grain thing is going to be, it's spent grain, it's been used, it's been soaked, sparged. There we go. I brewed a little bit in my life. It's been through sparge. So the sugars are like 70% gone, but there's still going to be so much activity there in anaerobic land. I think it's going to be anaerobic is the problem.
Tremendously mushrooms.
Yeah, well, and I think that's your sign, right? Is that you're growing mushrooms in it, and that's doing well. This is the opposite of mushrooms. I work with a mushroom grower, right? That grows. He's small like me, small, and his basement is these big, awesome plexiglass rooms, walk-in rooms, right? That are the exact opposite of the conditions I would grow microgreens in. It's 50 degrees in there or something, and dark, and the humidity is like 89, 90%, right? So I think if you're getting good mushroom production out of it, it's probably the sign that the micros aren't going to do well. You know what I mean? But I think they'd be anaerobic because I've had spent brewer's grain because I brewed, and it's always pretty packed. And I think the work you'd have to put into it wouldn't be worth it. Because you'd have to perlite mix it, and it sounds like it'd be a pain in the ass to mix. Because it probably comes wet already.
Yeah, it comes wet.
So if it's coming in wet, it's already growing stuff in there that you don't see. Yeah, and it's so starchy. Yeah, it's so starchy. I think that, so as a restaurant guy, okay, they tell you when you're in a food safety class that one of the most dangerous things are potatoes and rice. People don't think about this. If you leave potatoes and rice out at 50 degrees on your counter, that sugary starch outer coating just sucks bacteria in and feeds it. So brewer's grain's going to do that. big time. So I wouldn't do it. But hey, man, if you get some carpet scraps laying around, it was the weirdest thing ever. I was like, I had to ask him 4 times. I'm like, so like carpet? It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, psycho.
Are your trays, do they have drain holes or are they solid?
Yes, very important. Always drain holes, every tray. So do the trays have drain holes? Always a drain hole. These come with the holes. They also, though, you can find it at dowiefarm.com/microgreen supplies. Now, you can get trays without holes, too, from me or from wherever. So you could...
You mentioned watering.
Yeah.
What are you doing underneath?
So you could bottom water. So I always sprayed. How could we water? The watering options, right? You could, if you had an outdoor spot where you could set your misters and just constantly mist them, that'd be fantastic. That's like, to me, actually, that is the ideal setup. But I'm indoors and I can't just be spraying, stuff all over the place. You're doing aquaponics, right? And so he's bottom watering. And that bottom watering is what I do, because I have fill and flood tables that just fill and the water drops out. Now, you could mimic that with, you have your 2 takeout containers at home, right? And you had a lid and a whatever. Throw that lid underneath. You got holes in the bottom of your tray. And just when the soil starts to dry, you just pour some in the bottom, and it'll just wick up. And that is probably your best way, I would think, with that kind of bottom watering. You got to be careful not to overwater it, though. It's real easy to overwater with bottom watering. That's where the perlite kind of comes into. So, like, I add so much perlite, so it just, even if I overflow it, it just is all good,
I changed that too.
To the perlite.
So I'm impressed that Jake has waited till now.
Perlite is awesome. Yeah, you're up to 80.
For his question.
I'm at 70% perlite a lot of times.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
That way if my timers get stuck on.
Yeah. Yeah, I can like forget about a pump for 20 minutes and the perlite's good.
So
here we go.
Jake, was it hard to wait till now for your question?
Jake, you're only allowed 1 question a day.
No,
Is this it?
No, per session.
So we went up to it.
I thought it was a 2-question thing anyway.
He got Michael Jordan asked the
that was a
Kimmel question
statement.
probably, so he's done.
And then like 2 more people have to ask a question before you can ask another.
That's even more than 1 question.
Until he starts abusing it. And
I'm not abusing it.
I'm just messing with you. Who here's a first timer? This is Jake. He's our whipping post.
Thanks, Mr. Kimmel.
Hey man, I'll take the money.
All right. So you probably don't do this, but all your studying tells me you probably know the answer. Freeze drying greens, is that a cool thing to do?
I don't think so. Would you freeze dry salad?
Well, you can freeze dry anything.
Lettuce?
You could, but...
Would you? I didn't say could you, Jake.
Okay.
You can freeze dry anything you want.
He spent $5,000 and he's looking for something to do with the damn thing.
What am I doing? Hold on. This is how. For all you first timers, this is how you answer Jake's question. The question is, could you freeze dry microgreens? Yes.
But your second question...
Yeah, Jake, you can do it. Don't do it.
But you said, do I do salad? No, I wouldn't do salad, but I could...
It'd be weird.
I think I'd do sunflower.
Maybe sunflowers or peas, maybe.
Yeah.
But pea tendrils, I tried to make a soup out of pea tendrils once because I had a bunch that I didn't sell, and it was terrible. It was just fibery and weird, And maybe I just am not skilled enough to make that work, but, I get a lot of weird hippies that juice them. So, and I'm like, what's that? Yeah, it takes so much. They're like, I need a lot. I'm like, how much do you need? Like a pound. I'm like, well, give me $40 and you can make a cup of juice. Like, knock yourself out, buddy. And where I live, some of these people will pay for that. So, hey, thank you very much. You dehydrated radish? So that's the same idea, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I just like would sprinkle on stuff. I don't know.
How was it? Tasted like radish?
No, it wasn't the same.
Not the same, yeah. I think that it's like, because it's a green, it's probably a no.
We got another one back here.
Oh, what a waste of a question, Jake. Jesus Christ.
Simple question. What would you suggest to get my wife to eat these? Meat. She's meat.
This is the other way around usually.
Yeah.
So
it's like what goes best on steak and with potatoes.
Okay. Pairings. Sommelier of microgreens. Is that the word, the wine word? Anyway, so the question is, what goes best with things, and how does he get his wife to eat microgreens? I don't know your wife, dude. So I don't know. I think the different. Have you ever tried them? Okay, has she ever tried them? Okay, you know the flavors then. The flavors are like, this is way different than like, I know pointing at sunflowers. It's not like you've ever walked through the field and just be like, oh, sunflower head. Just start eating like an apple or something. But a radish is, one of those, right? Or broccoli. Let's take broccoli, right? say she loves broccoli. The broccoli greens wicked taste like broccoli, right? And they're very nutritious and whatever. Incorporating them into stuff she already eats. So you said she eats a lot of meat, right? Things like that. Yes, thank you. Yeah, chimichurri's. It's kind of like pesto salsa. Yeah. Oils. Yeah, kind of like a pesto kind of idea, right? So that kind of a thing. You can make pesto out of what are people arugula? People make pesto out of arugula, and that's really good on stuff. I grow a tray radish, and I cut it. Oh it's my blood glucose meter is like, I quit. So I looked at it, it's going to expire in the middle of my class. I'm like, oh, cool. So I don't have a pancreas. So I take the radish and I cook it in a wok with tamari, soy sauce. I use tamari. Ginger, garlic, okay? And it kicks out its own liquid, so you don't have to add any liquid. You can add a little chicken stock if you want. And don't salt that, because tamari is wicked salty. And it is ramen. And it's so good. So, but you could strain that a little, okay? And put that on a steak. So not all the juice, And it's really good. The radish holds up to cooking real well. Well, it's way down, but it holds up well. And the sunflower does too, and so do the peas. They all do well. The other brassicas and stuff kind of just die when you cook them. But you can cook all these, and that recipe right there, you just soy sauce, garlic, ginger,
If you want
pepper.
those things in a cooked thing, what you do is you cook the other stuff.
Yeah.
And you just throw it on your plate while it's still hot, and you just kind of mix it.
Yeah.
And it poaches them, and then they're good like that.
Yeah. So,
If you cook them, freaking broccoli.
yeah, the ramen thing is, it tastes like pasta to me, but that radish gives it that weird flavor. It's really cool. It's a MicroGreens ramen. That's a video I haven't done yet that I need to do. But I'm always in my underwear in the kitchen.
It's gonna be on
So
the Patreon.
I think I'll put that on my Patreon. And I'll put it on my new Patreon channel, which is John Cooks in His Underwear. So show of hands who would pay for that. Come on now. Jake and her. Sorry, not doing it. Not doing it if he's watching. So, and I think working it into sandwiches and stuff is a good way to go. I think if you're eating a wrap or something, I eat wraps because I can't eat carbs because I'll just die in front of you. And then, I eat wraps, so I just fire these into wraps, and they're good for that. And then into salads, like I said, and on top of meat is great. Burgers, I'm sure she eats a burger, right? Well, like what I said, if you do like a lettuce microgreen is like just punch you in the face with lettuce, like in a good way, and not just smacked up the side of the head with it. That'd be weird. But like that and arugula is great on it. All these things are great on a burger, So you slip that onto a hamburger, I think you're good to go, And you can grow leeks microgreens that are amazing. And they're so good. They're so easy to grow. They take a long time, but they're the sweetest onion flavor ever. Can't really cook with them, but they're really good. Yeah.
This is a potential answer for Jake's freeze-dry question.
It's not a question, it's an answer.
There is a potential market out there because there's always crazy people. You could sell that as a tea ingredient for people to make herbal teas out of.
So I mess with Jake all the time, but I just told him, actually, I think it might be, if those were available freeze-dried where I could eat them like chips.
Oh, yeah. The sunflower.
I don't know how they'll come out, but if they come out good, I'd eat the hell
Jake,
out of that.
give it a shot. Yeah. I just told you how to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Great. We have
and
time
you can go to
for
my
one more
YouTube
question.
channel, and there's a $30 level Patreon where you get 30 minutes on the phone with me every month, and I will not answer that call. But I will take your money. Jake, do you want to come over and cook in your underwear? It's a great idea and a thought. Sorry, wait. Pocket Dowie? Yeah. Yes, sir. How are you?
Fine.
Good to see you.
Say a big tray like that, okay? If you've just got 2 people in the family.
Yeah.
And you cut that and you put it in the refrigerator. How long is that going to last till you can utilize it all?
So shelf lives, that's a good question.
Shelf life.
So if you wash it, there's a catch here. You want to store this you want to rinse it, and if you're going to store it, it's good to rinse it and dry it. It's not 100% necessary, but I see on sunflowers 17 days. Oh yeah. But when it grows right, if it grows funny, it won't last. It'll die right away. Just so you know. You get weird damping off. Yeah, because I think it's something to do with the bricks or whatever. I'm not that much of a scientist. So, so if you didn't rinse it, let's say, you want a ventilated container to store this in. So you want to take your Tupperware, whatever, and you drill some holes in that. And you want to throw a paper towel on the bottom of that thing to absorb some of that excess moisture. And holes in the top. So just real small holes, like the size of a paper clip. So your little drill bit. Like I put 5 holes in the side of a good sized Tupperware, 3 in the ends, 7 or 8 on the top. Paper towel on the bottom, in the fridge, right?
And most other greens will last that long?
I get, this thing's beeping at me. I hate that sound. I get 2 weeks almost out of almost everything. Basil, I only get 5 to 7 days. But yeah, so so when I sell to a chef, I guarantee 10-day shelf life. Or 7? I don't remember anymore.
7 sounds
I guarantee
more
7,
reasonable.
and I tell them it's gonna last 10. And then they get like 14, and they're like, dude, the stuff I bought from the produce company died in 3 days. I go, that's because it was already 7 days old when it made it to your restaurant. And I cut that shit this morning. You know, so like, so this whole tray, sunflower greens have a great shelf life, radish has a great shelf life, pea tendrils, those 3, pea tendrils last for like a month. It's like, they will all degrade with flavor as they get a little older, okay? But the sunflowers have a great shelf life. It's great, this is an awesome crop to grow home because you can eat it like popcorn. And it's just like, you put it into so many things and it lasts for 2 to 3 weeks in your fridge if handled right. And if you rinse it, like I said, if you just kind of put it in some cold water, let it sit, all these things, except for the basil, don't wash basil, it dies. And then you got a little salad spinner at home, spin it out, stick it in front of a fan for a few minutes, toss it a couple times. That stuff's gonna last 2 weeks. So it's good stuff. Yeah, so if you did grow a massive amount, you wouldn't have to worry too much about it. And you have sugar gliders, and they'll eat all this, by the way. Because the girl that works for me has sugar gliders, and she feeds it to them. Yeah, she takes the stuff home. Yeah. Yeah, they love it. Grow them some sunflower fodder, man. Yeah.
Steve, you're like me. If you're growing mostly for your family, especially in the wintertime, which is when we kick up the pot tent and grow, I'll wait till they get to shorter than size, and I drop my temperature to 65, 66.
Slow them down.
Leave them uncut.
Yep.
Stunts their growth.
Yep.
But the flavor locks, because once you cut them, the flavor starts peaking off. So I just turn the temperature down in my growing area to like 65.
Yeah.
Don't go below 62, about 65.
Because then you're gonna grow mold. Yeah.
And they stunt.
Yeah, so you can slow them down with temperature, just like you speed them up. If you go too low, you're gonna maybe develop some mold. Yeah, because there's just I know he's talking about mold, but they're planted so intensively, and and you want a fan. By the way, there's something important I didn't mention with the climate is airflow, right? You need a fan in the room. Okay. Now, if you're on a couple trays, you don't plant it super dense, you're probably gonna be fine, you know. But if you're doing a 10-20 or something and you're planting it pretty dense, you want to blow it around. If you go and take a peek in the thing that I left open, the grow tent that I left open, there's a fan in there. It's blowing air around all the time, and the airflow thing is very important. But you don't want it. Some growers on YouTube, like they just make a video and they've never grown anything. They're blasting their greens with a box fan from like 6 inches away. Don't do that. Like you just get a circular kind of flow in the room is what you want. So they say the best way to gauge your airflow in a growing room is everywhere you go, you should feel a very slight breeze. And the whole idea is these are producing gases. These are off-gassing all the time, and you just want that gas to be carried away. And then also you want to keep the airflow so you don't grow mold, you know, so cool.
Mold is bad?
Mold, well, penicillin.
Oh.
Cheese.
Cheese is good.
We're not growing cheese, though.
We should do a cheese growing session next with you.
Badass.
Okay.
I'll eat cheese.
I make cheese. Maybe we can talk him into letting me do that next year.
You roast coffee and make cheese.
It's fun to visit
covered
my
my
house.
whole diet.
What about the hot dogs?